So with that, let's just quickly talk about the theme for the weekend, what we'll be learning. So the emphasis here is learning the various Mudo Huri exercises, training drills that the Kwanjang Nim has created. And the purpose, the objective of those exercises is to develop the right instinct, kind of Mudo habit in our Jayu Derian, so that we can begin moving in a defensive way with our Jayu Derian that reflects our five Moo values of kind of the history, the tradition, in particularly the philosophy of defense, the discipline and respect, right? So the discipline of offense, having a really strong, deliberate offense, and then understanding the respect of defense, creating a proper defensive posture, and then making sure that everything is lining up with our huri. As we know, for the last 10, 15 years, we've been trying to evolve the way in which we do our free sparring. And conceptually here, we understand how we should move and what that picture should look like. But as we try and apply it here, we often fall short. And I know from firsthand experience, having many years of competitive experience at the nationals, trying to incorporate the Kwanjang Nim's vision in competition. This is very, very difficult. Requires a very high level of training. So these Mudo Huri warm-up drills should help us create those habits so that in the future, we're able to perform at the standards that the Kwanjang Nim has set out for us. So that's what these training drills are about. That's what this weekend is for. So the theme of the weekend is Mudo in. So Mudo, we know martial way, and then in is person. So how can we cultivate ourselves as Mudo in? So everything that we're going to learn throughout this weekend, especially here where many of you, or even my seniors, all of you high-level practitioners, we're not going to learn anything new, but hopefully we can begin to use our stronger shimgong by being more inward, thinking inward, and being more mindful and aware of how we're moving and try and change some of our habits. That's what I've enjoyed with these drills, is that it's given me an opportunity to try and look inward and change my habits. So I hope all of you enjoy it in the same way as we develop into Mudo in. Okay, so this session is for instructors and prospective instructors. So what I want to do today is teach you the framework so that you can then teach these principles in your classes. So it doesn't matter what you're teaching. Here's a framework in which you can develop your class curriculum. Okay. So in essence, what we're going to do is just start by learning how to turn the waist and focus everything on waist twisting. And then from there, you start working on footwork. Okay. And just understanding basic footwork. And then you start understanding how to shift and twist mass into a proper jase. And we're going to talk about completing our jase from one posture to the next. Then we kind of move forward, and then we start thinking about the technique, right? And we're going to start implementing the technique, but it all starts from just learning how to twist the waist. We start using the proper technique, right? Here. Then we start using a partner, and then we incorporate someone else after we've kind of dialed in ourselves. Then we dial it in with a partner, and we do some drills with a partner. And then we should end with some sort of an instinctive drill that helps us respond dynamically, so it's not so static. So that's kind of the progression that the Kwanjang Nim is teaching. So we're going to start off today. I'm going to demonstrate the framework in our warm-up. And then after I demonstrate the framework, we're going to talk about it a little bit. And then I'm going to show how you could use this framework in teaching a class. And we're going to go through one of the Ilsushik Derian, and I'm going to teach you, as if you were kind of beginner students, white, orange belts, how I would teach the Ilsushik Derian within this framework. Then we'll talk about it a little bit, and then we're going to do some performance tips based on what the Kwanjang Nim's wanting us to focus on here in 21. So that'll be more or less the structure of the seminar today. So with that, those of you that would like to join us, let's stand up and we'll begin. So 준비. Okay, so all of you, as I teach the virtual classes frequently, you have the option of, if your camera is off, that's perfectly fine. I will be giving specific feedback to those that are wanting to display their cameras throughout the class. So if you'd like feedback from me, turn it on. And if you do have it on, it would be ideal if you're able, like me, to show your feet to your head. And that allows me to give you proper feedback. So if it's not set up that way, I'll do my best. Okay, so from here, we'll begin. Everybody just get your hands up. I like to start with the arms out straight. We're going to start with the left and we're going to turn our waist. Hana, turn. Notice how I unweight here and then back to center. Okay, so if you don't have a lot of space, you can keep your elbows bent. If you have the space, I prefer to have them outstretched. And then to the right, 둘. Okay, and then left, set. Back to center each time. 넷, 다섯, 여섯, 일곱, 여덟, 아홉, 열. Okay, so now we're going to do it a little different. We're going to do a little counter wind. So a counter wind to the right and then twist. 하나, back. And then we'll counter wind a little bit to the right and then to the other way. So to the left and twist. Okay, counter wind and 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯, 여섯, 일곱, 여덟, 아홉, 열. Okay, then from here, we're going to take a step back with the right leg and twist. 하나, behind, and then forward, 둘, and then back to neutral position in kind of like a 자유대리한 position. Then our hands are out. Again, 후진, 천진, neutral, 자유대리한. Okay, all the way through, hands out, and count one. 하나, 하나, 둘, 셋. 둘, 하나, 둘, 셋. 넷, 하나, 둘, 셋. 다섯, 하나, 둘, 셋. Okay, so from here now, we want to think about creating the proper jase. So from here, hands are out. As I shift my weight back, you want to think about moving your mass to the back leg into a nice hugul jase. 하나, go ahead. Make sure that the front knee doesn't collapse. Make sure the front knee is open and pointing towards the direction you're moving. Count one. Now count two. Drive the weight forward, lunge forward. Find that, drive the weight into the front leg, nice chungul jase, and then back to neutral. Okay, we'll do that 5 times. And 하나, hugul, chungul, 대리안. 둘, hugul, chungul, 대리안. 셋, 넷. Okay, a lot of you need to go a little further. Try and get those hands further back. 하나 and 1. Okay, so your hands are facing completely north. Okay, behind you. We're going to assume that wherever you're facing is south. Then you step forward, and my fingertips are facing behind me again, and then back to neutral. So always facing behind you at the completion. 넷, and 다섯. Excellent. Okay, so now we're going to cross our elbows. Okay, kind of reaching forward, thinking more about the chambering hand. So the right hand reaches, and then think about the hip twisting, just like we practiced. 하단 마키. 1, and then the front leg lifting and twist 툴로 중단 공격. Okay, and reset. Back to neutral. Then we cross, reach again. 하나, and 둘, and back. Okay, cross, 셋. 넷, 기합. Okay, and then excellent. So from here, 발목과 feet. All right, so now here we're going to try it again. From here, hands are out. We're just going to twist back. 1, 하나, 후고, 청구 대리안. 둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯. So now think about the proper jase, right? So we got the twisting going. Now think about the weight shifting back. Hana. Nice hugel jase. Don't allow that front knee to bend inward. Maintain the huri open so that you have the right energy lines. Then from here, we step forward. Nice bend in the knee. Back heel is up, and then back to center. Okay, let's try. And set. Nice jase. Net. Toss it. Okay, excellent. Now from here, we cross. Think about that back hip reaching. So really focusing on the pulling hand. Elbows touching. Hana. One. And then drive forward. And pull. Okay, cross. Set. Net. Toss it. And 팔복과 feet. Okay, just warming up the body here. Everybody, perfect changul jase. We're going to talk about this more later, but make sure that your toes are right underneath the knee. Okay, so most of you needing to bend your knee more. Think about good energy in the back leg, keeping the back leg straight. Now, staying low. We're going to be talking about this later. Stay low. Don't come up, and we're just going to murup chagi and back. Now, watch my hips as I kick here. One, and as I pull back, a lot of times we feel weight going to the back leg. Today, so that we focus on good changul jase, you're going to kick and then keep the weight here on the front leg. I'm going to kick side view for everyone. So from here, murup chagi. Hana. Back. 둘. 셋. 넷. 다섯. 여섯. 일곱. 여덟. 아홉. 열. 칠. Okay, so from here, apodorigi. Okay, so just here, shift the weight. And then feel the huri dragging the back leg. That'll be count one. And then count two, lift. And feel a nice contraction. Okay, let's try five. Hana. Back. Okay, again, think about reach. One, two, contract. Okay, 둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯. Okay, so now one, two, three. Feel the expansion and then back. This angle, reach, one, contract, expand, pull back. 4 hip motions. Hana. A little faster on the down. 둘, 셋, 넷, 칠. Okay, so from here, rear leg up chunaki. So the knee comes up, inhale, one. As we get it up, I want the elbow touching the knee, hand touching the foot. And then we extend. Hana. Back, down. Okay, knee comes up, hana. Elbow touch the foot, not inside. Elbow can't be on the inside, right on the knee. 둘. Full extension, back, down. 셋. 넷. 다섯. Okay, full speed, up chunutki. 하나. 둘. 셋. 넷. 칠. And switching feet. Okay, so same thing now. Thinking about the murup chagi here. Strong Changul Jase. Hana. Back. Two. Set. Good contraction. Yeah. Toss it. Else it. Irgo. It. Hop. Kid hop. Chip. Okay, then from here, I'll pull the rigi. 1, 1, 2, up. Hana. 2. Set. First motion here. Everybody try. First motion here. Right? That's what drives the leg up. I'm seeing a lot of you kind of just stepping and opening, but it's all up here, not motivated by the waist. Okay, and net. Toss it. Key up. Okay, slow then fast. 1, slow, fast on the downward stroke. Okay, 2. Set. Net. Key up. And from here, up Chinutki. Hana, knee up. Elbow here, not on the inside, not on the outside, on the knee. Grab the toes. Extend. Hana, back, down. Okay, 2. 1. Extend, back, down. Set. Knit. Toss it. Full speed. Hana. 2. Set. Knit. Hit up. And hold. Sure. Picture door walk. So now we have Mr. Corrales here with me. My son is going to be my partner. If you have a partner we're in your location, you can do this with a partner, or you can be my partner on the screen here in a second. Right like that. Okay, so Mr. Corrales throws the Apchunutki here. Haranmaki, Hugul Jase, and then step. And then reset. And then I'll throw the kick. No, I'll throw the kick. And then you demonstrate. Here. And back. Kick. It comes on Nida. So we just did a warm up. Everyone feels warm, right? And now you start getting into a sparring routine. You can kind of start kind of slow with your partner and then start picking up speed. So let's give that a try here. Everybody chumbi. If you're in a space where you have a partner and you'd like to do this with a partner in real life, you can. Otherwise, everybody step back with their right. Dadian Jase. Okay, so on the screen, it should look like we're closed stance. I'm sparring with you, and we're closed stance. Okay? So I'm going to throw the Apchunutki. You're going to defend. Okay? So we'll just try 5. Back leg will step. Hana. Retreat. And then twist and punch. And back. Set. Good. Okay, so now even though you're still slow and it's a warm-up, what I'm seeing from a lot of you is it's very choppy. It's 1, and then it's 2. Even if it's slow, it should look like this. 1, 2. Especially since we're with the Dons and Kodanje here. If you're training with the group students, maybe it's choppy like this, okay, because they're learning. But for us, we should try and start smoothing it out. So let's try a few more. I'm going to kick slow, and you need to punch me before my foot goes to the floor. Okay, so net, and time's up. Back, pass it, time's up. Okay, one more. You'll sit, time's up. Okay, so think about how fast you need to punch. Now I'm going to kick a little faster, so you need to respond faster with the low block. Try and punch me before your foot hits the ground. Time's up. Time's up. Time's up. Net. Time's up. Key hop. Sure. Okay, I want to explain how anybody feel like they were too slow on that? It's difficult to keep up. I'm going to explain kind of what will help you there. So a little more advanced training now, but something that you should start teaching your GUP students so that your performance is more effective. Okay, so what we do is we think about these static positions. So you sink, static position, and then you move to the next static position. What you want to think about here is that this knee bends, and the reason that it bends is that it's a springboard. One springboard. That's the reason why you have this knee bent. Okay, so I was going to do performance tips at the end, but maybe we'll just do it intermingled here. When you move, you're moving. We're going to simplify it and say you're only moving in two directions. In this exercise, you're either moving forward or you're moving back. The problem is that a lot of you from here, you're moving up and you're moving down. All you're doing is transferring energy from one leg to the next. Do you see the energy here? This leg is like a coiled spring. So as I shift my weight back, I transfer the potential energy in this leg to this leg. And then as I punch, I transfer the potential energy to this leg. Okay, so now watch what happens when potential energy's here. I push and look what happens. What just happened to my energy? Went up. It's out. It's in the universe now. It left my body. That's why it's so important from here to just, right? Energy, energy. Here. So the speed of this is 1, and you feel the boom, and then you push off this leg. Bounce, bounce. Okay, so it looks something like this. Okay, bounce, bounce. Don't stay in a static position. Let's try again with the other leg now. Okay, left leg back. Close stance. Up Chinutki, we're going to try 5. I'm going to kick slow, but still punch me before I set my foot down. Hana. Keep it smooth. Pull. Set. Net. Key hop. Okay, I'm going to speed it up now. Hana. Pull. Set. Net. Key hop. Horo. Sure. Basic drill, very basic drill. Everybody feels warmed up, right? You learned how to move your waist. We learned about fundamentals, and you got some real sparring application out of the warm up. Okay. So that took a lot longer than what you would do in class because it was your first time and I was explaining some principles, but you would do that pretty quickly. Okay. Just run through a warm up, and your students just know that you're going to go through a warm up like this to get the blood flowing. Okay. Without the explanation, you just run through it. So that's the framework. We're going to go through the framework one more time. I'm not going to do a lot of talking, but we're going to learn Il Sushik Derian Sambon now. Il Sushik Derian Sambon. And we're going to use the framework to teach it to your students. And again, it's going to teach them how to twist their waist, how to have a strong foundational stance, and then understand how to connect their stance, their waist twist with the proper techniques. Okay? So, okay, so Sambon. So I'm going to mirror you. So this is going to be my right leg. Okay. So sometimes your screens are different. They're mirrored, but I'm pointing over here towards my right. I'm sorry, towards my left, which should be your right. So if everybody points in this direction, you should all be pointing towards the right. Okay. All right. So if you're teaching a virtual class, by the way, that it's important for you to kind of establish that. I shouldn't have done it 30 minutes into the class. I should have done that at the beginning. Because sometimes your screen or my screen might be mirrored, and that confuses some students. Okay, so hands are up. Twisting starting with the left. Hana. Dul. Set. Net. Dasit. Yosit. Ilgo. Yudit. Aho. Yol. And now from here, what you're going to do is twist one to the right. And now your right leg is going to step. Hana. Notice weight bears to the left. Pick up your toes, pivot on the heels, shift your mass. Dul. Set. And back. Okay, little counter wind. Hana. Remember, weight on the front leg. Dul. Set. And back. Dul. Hana. Dul. Set. Back. Set. Hana. Dul. Set. Back. Net. Hana. Dul. Set. Net. See how the paro is another hip turn. Okay, so one more time, slow. Counter wind. Hana. Dul. Set. And then pull the right leg back. Net. Right leg. Hana. Dul. Set. Feet together. Net. Hugel jase. Nice back stance. Right? Because in a hugel jase, you're going to pull that hip back. Here. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple of angles. From here again. Okay, I'm going to step with my right this time, this way. Hana. Dul. Set. Feet together. And net. And see back. Hana. Dul. Set. Feet together. And net. Inhale. See how another hip turn, right? Another hip turn. And back. Horo. Hands up. Okay. And hana. Dul. Set. Feet together. Net. Knee up. Pasut. Kia. Chia. Horo. We'll maybe do it 3 more times. Mr. Krause is going to come here and demonstrate so that I can watch you and provide some feedback if needed. Okay? So you'll be doing the sabon. You'll go with the step with the left. Okay, everybody? And hana. Dul. Set. Feet together. Fall back, net. and toss it. Knee up, turn, and ki hop. Set it down behind, and paro. Fantastic. We'll do a few more reps, show. Okay, thanks, Mr. Corrales. So all of you, you just saw it, right? And now what you would do is just put in the techniques, right? And your students now have Salman Sablon of the Ilsushik Dadian using the framework that the Kwanjang Nim is teaching us. Okay, any questions with that? We're going to do some more reps of that in a second. So pick your combination. Pick whatever you're going to do. You can use this framework to teach people how to shift and twist their mass, how to have the proper jase, and then how to connect that with their technique. Okay, that's all this seminar for the weekend is. That's the heart of it. Okay, so performance. Remember about shifting your weight. So from here, I'm on one leg. As I turn, everybody see where my center of gravity is? Okay, so as I get up on one leg, my center of gravity kind of shifts a little bit. Now as I turn, and then I step into that front stance, everybody watch my center of gravity. Do you see how it dropped straight down? And do you see the bend in my knee here? Now what most of us do is you're here, and as you turn, watch my center of gravity. Did you see how my center of gravity went to the back leg here? Now it still kind of looks like a front stance. Let's even say that I bend my knee more. But do you see the energy going this way? When you go into this and you twist, you're twisting your mass, but the purpose of the hip twist is to shift mass. That's the only reason. So if I do a tulo chungdang gongyak like this, everybody look at this reverse punch. Okay, and you need to be able to have an eye as you watch your students on this performance. This will help you determine whether or not your students get the principle or not. And I notice that a lot of students miss the mark when we focus all of our attention on twisting our hoodie. What's wrong with this reverse punch? I tried to give you the best punch I could. What's wrong with it? There's one thing that's very wrong with that punch that makes it ineffective. Watch it again. Here. That's correct. This is incorrect. Incorrect. Correct. You see the weight shifting. If the weight doesn't shift, then everything's for naught. 1, 2. Not here. 1. Now watch. Watch my center of gravity. Center of gravity. Now from here, watch my center of gravity. From here, see right underneath my foot. Center of gravity now underneath here. So, what did I do with it? Here's how you teach your students. Broom, staff, sword, some sort of a stick. Put the stick right next to their toes. Bend the knee until their knee touches the stick. That's correct. If the knee isn't touching, you have not completed the Chungul Jase. Back knee is straight line. Not correct. Straight line. Connection here. Hugul Jase. Knee bends, side view is better. Toes, knee. Connection. Here. Up higher, not good. Not good enough. Here. This view, my belt knot. That determines my center of mass. Hugel Jase, a lot of you, center of mass, not you, but your students, right? Center of mass, not correct. Correct. So center of mass should go to the inside of your foot. Okay, so it should be on this. It won't be completely over your supporting foot, but it should definitely be in that area. What you don't want to do is have it in the middle. If it's in the middle, then it's wrong. Okay, so look at your students and you can kind of determine whether or not their mass is shifting based on their knees, where they are over the toes. Okay, and then seeing the center of mass here, right? Where's their belt knot, especially on the Hugel, because a lot of times our hips not pulled back and our hips are actually pushing forward, which puts the center of gravity in between the legs. Okay, any questions on what I just talked about there? Okay, let's try a few more times. Mr. Krause will come up here so that there's someone to follow. I'd like to watch you as we do technique Sambon, the full exercise with the blocks, and one step at a time. Let's think about shifting and twisting our mass. Chumbi jaze. Okay, Pakiswan Ramaki, first technique. Hana. Okay, think about driving the weight. Okay, this is a great example here. My son is 14 years old. He's an Edon. So right the same age and probably rank as many of your students. So this is what I do. I'd go here. His knee's a little too far in, so I'm going to turn his knee to the outside and make sure that it's connected. Now you shift and twist. Dual. Shift and twist. You're going to come over here and check. Okay? That looks pretty good. See, he learned. Then shift and twist. Set. Okay? You're here. Okay, see, he's a quick study. Next, feet together, step back. Here. Now, you probably can't tell, but I'm going to put his stick here, and what do you want him to do? Shift his weight back. He shifted his weight back a little further. I didn't have to do anything. I can look here. That's maybe a little too deep to get to there. Good. Okay? And then pick up the knee, pull the hip back. Right? So go back to the Hugel Jase. So from here, he should feel as his knee comes up, go, his hip pulling back. Okay? Knee up high above the belt. Rotate, kick the staff. Key up, bring it back, and set it down behind. And paro. Okay, so there's a model example of how I would, interact with one of my students to ensure that they're performing properly and giving them real-time feedback. Okay, let's try it again, and this time I won't interfere. Mr. Krause, come forward a little bit. Chumbi Jase, 2 more repetitions on your own for your own personal performance. First technique, Hana. Drive the weight. Everybody should look at your knees, and most of you didn't drive your weight enough. And then you adjusted. Look at your back foot. Is your back leg locked straight? Energy comes from both legs. Actually, your rear leg is what is the source of the energy, not the front leg. So more energy coming from the back leg to keep it straight. Shift and twist, stool. Drive from the front leg. As you shift and that becomes the back leg, that's the one that straightens. Shift and twist again, set. Okay, bring your feet together, pull your hip back. Into Hugel Jase. Did you stand up as your feet came together? If so, all of your energy went out into the universe and left your body. Bring your knee up, Yaporo Chagi Kiha. Bring it back, set it down behind, and paro. Okay, one last repetition. On your own, kuring up shi. Take your time, think about what we just talked about. Shijak. Pro. Okay, great. And everybody show. Another way of putting it, especially we're doing a virtual class, does everybody see my head? So you probably can't tell, but that's the fist over there. Do you see where my head is? So now as I shift back into Hugel Jase, watch what happens. So in a virtual setting, this is the way that I teach it, especially to the children, is watch my head. And then as I go forward. And then notice that I'm shifting my weight side to side, but I'm not going up and down. So that's another way of saying it. One is, front knee bent, chungul, front bend, hugul, back bend. Another way of saying it is that you don't want to come up. So once your knees are bent in a sagorip, this is another way to teach it. Here, back, here, back. Another idea, since we're kind of going there with shifting your mass, because a lot of times we're talking about just this twisting. But we need to remember what's the purpose of this twist. The purpose of the twist is to bring all of your body weight into the weapon. That's the reason you're twisting your mass. So to do that, you need to move your mass into that weapon. Okay, so from here, everyone, chumbi jaze. And everybody come here into sagorip jase. Then the knees. Okay, nice and proper. Now, something that came up with my students just the other day, Mr. Corrales, come here. Sagorip jase. Oftentimes, people, and this is on me on this one. This is something that I struggle with. My instructor's on the call. He'll probably be nodding his head that I've done this. Is that your hips pull forward, so you kind of rotate your hips this way. Okay, and I see that a lot in the Moo Duk Kwan, where you're trying to contract your abdomen and then your hips rock underneath you this way. Okay, so if he does that, okay, and then you just have your hands out, okay, like the pole hyung, and then I try and push, he's going to be off balance. You want to push your weight back a little bit, so you're sitting back, still a flat back, but you'll find now that you're going to have a stronger stance. Okay, so sagorip jase, make sure that your back is straight. See, but I'm kind of sitting back here rather than this. Do you see just that small adjustment here? Okay, so now we're going to shift into chungul jase. Mr. Corrales is going to do that. So you're going to pick up your left foot. We'll go over to the left, pivot, heel pivot, and then shift. Chungul jase. Again, thinking about this. Okay, so my student here, how are you going to adjust? By bending that knee deeper. Notice this is difficult for him. Everybody look at this. His stance is too long. So shorten your stance more, shorten it more. And that's going to make it easier. Okay, so a lot of times we think that a stance, what we need to do is have a longer stance, when really the way to get more weight into the front leg is by shortening the stance, and so that you can have a deeper bend in this front knee. Okay, so then back to center. Now we'll shift to the other direction. Hana, shift. There, and then back. We're going to do this a bunch of times. Now notice that your stance begins to widen. Naturally, your stance is going to widen, and at some point, I want you to correct that and bring your feet back in. I want you to be self-aware to see when that point is. Okay, hana, twist, and back. Tul, back. Set, back. Ne, back. Awesome. Back. As I see some of you still, everybody look at this. Here's his center of mass. Okay, toss it. Go again. Oh, gee, you went that way. Does everybody see how his belt knot moved? Your belt knots need to move. Some of you are twisting, but your weight's not going anywhere. Back to center. Okay, here he is. Now he's going to go the other direction. Go. Hup. See? Mass moves. Back to center. Don't just twist. The twisting results in weight shifting. Okay? Now, how many of you are noticing that you're too far apart, or maybe some of you brought your feet in? Did that happen to anyone? Okay? You need to be aware, self-aware for yourself, but then can you see it in your students? Can you see when you ask them to bend their knee that, oh, as they're bending their knee, watch. As I bend my knee, is my weight really shifting forward much? Not a lot, a little bit. Watch when I get a shorter stance. You see? Just a little bit in the bend creates a lot more weight shifting. So you need to be able to see that. Okay, now we're going to go into Hugel Jase. So from the Chungul Jase here, look to the left, stay low. So you can look, if you can see yourself in the screen, I'm going to get down so you can't see my son. I'm as low as my son. And then I shift back. That's too low for me. Okay. But you want to try and stay level here as you shift into your Hugel Jase. So everybody, Sagrib Jase, shifting to Hugel Jase. Hana. And back. Pull. Back. So with your students, right, you could be like this. Set. Back. Maybe not a stick, but if you have some of those foam bats, sometimes I'll do the same thing, right? So that they're conscious about going up and down. Net. Back. Toss it. Back. Yosit. Back. Here we go. Back. And kiha. Hit. And paro. Sure. Dobak Tanjun. And then if something else came up you'd like to ask the body of knowledge that's here in the room today, feel free to ask the question. Otherwise, we'll move forward. Yes, sir. Okay, Makis Sabernim and then Mr. Kanibi. Good, good. Thank you, sir. That's that opening another can of worms. That's a whole nother seminar. I've talked a lot. I'm sure I'd be happy to give a response. Do any of my seniors that are on the call, would you like to respond to that? Just this, sir. So the leaning forward from the head and the shoulders in with the technique instead of from the hips. You'll have to share your screen, Whitcomb Sobernim. We can't see you. No, sir. There we go. Yes, sir. Murray Sobernim, please spotlight Whitcomb Sobernim. Thank you. Sobernim, thank you. Thank you, sir. Mr. Kanibi. Mr. Kanibi. It's a really good question. Okay. Thank you, sir. So that's good clarification. I'm not going to answer the question about how to shift your foot to make the width. We can address that at another time, another seminar. For the purposes of what we're trying to teach today with this drill, it's hard to see in 2D, but I'm going to be turning into the corners. And what that's going to do is teach you where to stop so that you're in a proper changul jase. So I'm going to talk about the feet in a second, but so let's say that I'm here in a 45. Do you see how I'm off centered? So now as I shift and twist, I'm going to be facing you. Okay? That's what's happening here. Okay, so that's the drill. As you do this drill, what you want to think about, everybody get into the Sagurip Jase, and then if you're going to go towards the left, you're going to do a left foot heel pivot. That heel pivot allows the weight to transfer. But if that's all you do you notice your flat tire on the back leg? The flat tire means that the outside edge of your foot is off the ground and it's facing the camera, your toes. Okay, that's not a very strong changul jase. So there's a heel pivot, and then you wanna turn your back foot as well. So both your feet pivot. Both feet pivot. So then you're feeling that energy in the back leg. So again, with your students, you want to get that staff right here so that they see that straight line from the back heel to their hip. And then you test this leg here to make sure that that leg is there, right? So make sure both your feet are moving as you shift. So you do that heel pivot, shift, back to center, heel pivot, back. Okay? All right. For the remaining time, I want to demonstrate and show you how you can now become creative in this twisting. So we have the Muro Huri drills, and you notice we haven't even touched on one tonight. We're going to do that tomorrow. But right now I'm teaching you the framework without going through individual techniques, because the techniques, those are just techniques that you memorize. What you want to understand as an instructor is what is the principle, what's the framework in which I can teach anything. So now you won't find this in a manual, but this is just something that I came up with based on the first time that I saw these warm-up exercises. And then we were doing this one, right? And then I saw us kind of doing this in Kyochirip, because most of us have done some of these before. And I was playing around with them, and then I started moving a little differently and then figuring out what the application is. Okay, so I encourage all of you not to get stuck on the particular drills, but understand the principles behind them and just make that's what a Moo Do In is, right? A Moo Do In is one who studies and practices and follows the Moo Do path. And the Moo Do path isn't a checklist. It's just principles that you live by. So today we're learning about principles to live by on how we move. Okay, so Chumbi Jase. Right leg back. Okay, so from here, let's just start with the twisting. Hana. Ul. Set. Net. Dasit. Yosit. Ilgop. Yodel. Ahop. Yor. Back to center. Okay, so now we're going to change the footwork a little bit, and we're going to go into Kyochirip Jase. Kyochirip Jase. Changul Jase, back. Okay, so Kyochirip, Hana. Changul Jase, Dur, and back. Set. Back. Net. Dasit. Yosit. Ilgo. Yodel. Aho. Yeah. Chia. Okay, switching feet. Chia. Same thing. Hugul Jase, Changul Jase, just kind of a warm-up drill. Hana. 둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯, 여섯, 일곱, 여덟, 아홉, 열. Okay, then we move into the kyocherep jase. Same thing. 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯, 여섯, 일곱, 여덟, 아홉. Okay, now pay attention for our last one. We're going to do it by the count. 하나, step back, kyocherep. Now from here, release your hip and shift your weight. Weight's on the left leg. Weight's going to shift to the right leg. Hugel jase. And then front leg lunges. Chungul jase. And reset. Now we just switched feet. So now we're going to switch feet both times and we're going to combine both drills. Okay, so we're going to step back. Kyocherep jase hana. Now as we do that, always think about what's happening to the weight. So weight shifting over to the right leg as you twist. One. What you don't want to do is this, right? You're going to shift weight onto this leg as you step, and then you're going to step back and maintain weight here. Then twist, and now fall onto the back leg, hugel jase, then lunge forward, chungul jase, and then back. So we're learning to shift weight from one leg to the next. I'm going to do a couple from a side profile. Okay, so hands are out, step back, kyocherep, and weight. Here. Now weight goes to the other leg as I twist. Weight. Okay, now weight shifts to the front leg. Weight. And then back. Okay, 하나, 둘, 셋, back. Okay, 둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯. Think about it. Are you coming up? Right? Stay low. Hana, one. Especially here on two. On two, everybody look here. Most people kind of that's the time to lift up, and then you come back down. Okay, so here, two. Shift the weight, back. Last one. Hana, 둘, 셋, back. Okay, so now on your own, 1, 2, 3, it'll look something like this. And then you'll go second time. Back to left leg forward. So one count will look like this. Okay, Mr. Corrales will come here to the center position. And hana. And then do it a second time the other side. Good. And 둘. 셋. 넷. I'm seeing some of you, you're starting to do this and you're forgetting this. Just think about the waist, and whatever you do, your waist just turns the other way. So if you know the first one, you know you got to just turn the hip the other way, and then turn the hip the other way, and then turn the hip the other way. Okay, you shouldn't get confused as to which way you're going. Just keep twisting opposite directions. Okay, net. Some of your heads are going with your huri. Make sure your shisan stays laser focused to the front. Last one. Chia. And pro. Sure. Okay, so application of that. So what you do basically is you have a sparring drill that you want to teach. And so first you figure out, okay, how do I shift and twist my mass? That's what's most important. And then the hand techniques just happen naturally. So first you figure out, okay, this is the drill I want to teach my students. So that's what I want to teach tonight. So how am I going to teach that drill? That's the start. And then you talk about shifting the mass, right? Remember how I talked about where the weight is? And now we add the techniques. So that's what we're going to do now. Okay, so back up, prepare, chumbi. Right leg back. We cross. Haranmaki, hana. Make sure here chest opens. Straight line, especially here in the camera. You can't see my back hand. I'm all on a single plane here. Okay, then turn, shift the weight. Dorio chagi, this short round kick, right? Your hip is turned, weight's on the supporting leg, obviously. Then lunge. Backhand chambers. Cross. Hana. One. Throw the leg. Kick. Back. Okay. Yeah, try and smooth it out. Remember, there's no fixed position. One position transfers to the next. Okay, so now let's try and make it smooth. Set. One. Throw. Shift. Drive. Forward. But don't sacrifice jase. Weight still shifts. One. Shift the weight again. And then fall forward. Make sure that finish technique, the weight is far back. Okay, set. Neck. Toss it. Yosit. Okay. Stay in that position there. Mr. Corrales will come. We're going to do 4 more, and I'm going to watch. Okay, and looks like so your left leg forward. Okay, and hana. Tul. Last one. Kyo. Oro. Sure. Last part of class is for you. This is more your more high level of training with this combination. This is a little more complicated. So this is two problems that I saw. Problem 1, everybody count my steps the first time. 1, 2. Did you see how many times my foot left the ground? Okay, watch again. How many times one of my feet leaves the ground? 1, 2. 2 times. Most of you, 3 times. Watch. 1, 2, 3. Okay? I'm going to explain why in a second. If I'm sure it clicked. Okay? Here's the second problem that I see. Okay, watch how many hip turns I do and when. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, watch this one. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I saw lots of smiles. Okay, so look inward on how you can improve your performance and make sure that your technique, your action reflects your intention. None of us at our level intend to make the mistakes I just demonstrated, but it takes that high level of shimgong to make sure that your performance reflects that. Okay, so if everyone wants to follow me now, let's get left leg forward. We're going to take it slow. Front leg steps back as we cross. Hana. Weights on the right leg. Shift the weight to the left leg now. Lift the right leg. Now, turn the waist as you perform the Dolyo Chagi simultaneously. Then, step forward. Tulo Chungnang Yes. Okay, this side. Haran Maki, 1. Weights on the left leg. There's no need to do that extra step because now you're going to shift your weight back to the right leg and lift the leg up. That's how you lift the leg, by shifting your weight. Shift and then turn. Kick and then drive forward. 1, shift, turn the hip, same time as the kick, and then drive. All right, let's try some more. We're going to try 3 more, a little more full speed. Try and match your performance with your intention. Hana. Pull. Set. Okay, not fast, but smooth. Neck. Pass it. Yosin. Ilga. Yurul. Aho. Kiha. Kiha. Aro. Sho. 감사합니다. Okay, fix your dobok. So that's what it's all about, friends, is matching your intention with your performance. That's Mudo in, right? So we have this Mudo path that we're trying to follow. Okay, that's your intention, right? But then how do you match that with your performance so you're actually on that path, right? Making sure that me as a person, Mudo in, I am walking on that path. I don't just see the path, acknowledge the path, but I'm actually on it. And these drills help you create the right habits so that you begin walking on that path, right? So that we can at some point realize the vision of the Kwanjang Nim when it comes to Mudo sparring. And from real personal experience attempting at nationals to match that ideal, very, very difficult. And I don't know that once I met that expectation. But that's our lifelong pursuit. I'd just like to leave just one final thought with all of you as the instructors of Region 8 and then of the Moo Duk Kwan, as we have so many friends from other regions here. I tell my students every day, often, I mean, we're the only school in the state of Utah. We're only the only certified Moo Duk Kwan school in the state. The art is us. And frankly, in the state of Utah, the art is me. My performance right? Me matching my intention with my performance defines what the art is in the state of Utah. Because what else is there to the art than each of us? So the legacy of our Moo Do rests on our shoulders as the instructors. The art will only be as great as who we are as practitioners. And we need to remember that and embrace that and take that responsibility seriously. I know that the seniors that are on the call tonight that trained me understood that responsibility. And as a result, was able to, and I'm so grateful for them helping me become the martial artist that I am today. And I hope that I'm able to continue that legacy by keeping that responsibility now for myself, passing it on to the next generation of students. So reflect on that. You are the art as the instructors, and the art will only be at the quality of who you are as practitioners in your local areas. So let's all train hard. Let's step up, and let's make sure that we have a great legacy for the Moo Duk Kwan for future generations. Kamsahamnida.